Hi everyone, my name is Aviad. I'm a senior developer at RPA, and in this video I would like to show you an integration that we have done with RPA Service Manager and Automation Anywhere. So RPA Service Manager specializes in creating RPA flows with Oracle system. It could be Oracle EBS or Oracle Form System. The Service Manager enables you to create the RPA, to debug it, to invoke it, of course. But sometimes we notice that for some customers, they want to invoke it from an automation framework that they already have, like the Automation Anywhere tool. So they want to take this flow that runs inside the Service Manager and make it part of a bigger automation flow, or use the Automation Anywhere framework that they have for invoking these flows. So how can we do that? This is an RPA flow that was created inside RPA Service Manager. This is the RPA editor that we have. This specific flow works with Oracle EBS Finance module. It takes a CSV file with a group of journal lines and it enters it into the general ledger. So this is the flow that does that, and this flow has few input parameters. It has the credentials of the EBS system, it has some description for the newly created journal entry, it has the path of the CSV file that it needs to read and analyze, and it also has an output parameter, which is the new journal ID that will be created inside the EBS system. So obviously we can just run it from here, but what we want to do is to invoke it from the Automation Anywhere. To do that, all we need to do is just to click this export button and choose the Automation Anywhere. This will create a zip file that is actually an Automation Anywhere bot that you can later import into your Automation Anywhere environment. So let's just save this file. And now I can go to my Automation Anywhere and I can import this bot. So I'll just choose the file that was just created, was just generated by the RPA Service Manager, press the import bot, and here it is. The bot will be created under the folder RPA. If you don't have it, it will create it for you, and the name of the bot will be the name of the RPA inside the RPA Service Manager. Let's get inside this bot and see what we have here. What we have here is a bot that actually invokes the RPA inside the RPA Service Manager server. Any RPA in the Service Manager can be invoked as REST API. So what we have here is invocation of a REST API. We already have here the URL, the correct URL to invoke it. We have here the parameters that need to be passed to this REST API call, and it is already wired to some variables that we have defined inside the Automation Anywhere. We have created variables for the input as well as for the outputs that comes back from the response of this REST API. So you would be able to see here the username and the password, which are part of the parameters that we have, and you can also see here the new journal, which was an output of this REST API, and it is all here and ready to be used. So let's see how it runs. To run it and see how we pass values to the input parameters and get the output parameters, let's just create a very simple process. Let's call it test journal. Here it is. And for this process, I will just add the bot that I just imported. So here I add bot task. I'll give it a name. Let's call it add journals to EBS. I'll select the bot. Here it is. And here on the process, I already have a form that I've created with all the parameters, the 4 parameters that I need to pass to this RPA. So let me just take this form, let's call it journal request, and Here on the bot, let's just wire the form fields to the bot parameters. So I'll just select here. For the description, I'll take the description parameter from the form. The CSV file, I'll take the CSV file path, and so on. The username and the password. Okay. So now we have a process that calls this bot. I also want to get back the output values, so I'll just go here to the process and add it to the message pane of this process. So let's add here. Let's see what we have here. From the bot, I have few outputs. You can see here we have the new journal, we have the response success, whether it succeeded or not, we have the pop-up messages and the status bar messages and errors that came back from the EBS system. Let's for now select the response success, and also let's select the new journal ID that was created. I just put some labels before it. So it was the response, and I'll have here new journal ID response. Let's call it status. That's it, and I'm ready. I can now just run it. So let me press the run button. And now you can see the form that was open for me after running the bot. So I'll put here the parameters. These are the credentials. And I'll also put here the path for the file that I want to load. Important note, of course, this path should be accessible for the RPA Service Manager server, because it will need to load this file. So it needs to be accessible to this machine. And let's just press the submit button and see what happens. So the process started to run. You can see it here. You can see here the bot starting up and running the Add Journals RPA that we have in our RPA Service Manager. Now we are waiting for it to finish. And that's it. It finished. And you can see here on the message panel that the response status was true, which means it succeeded, and this is the new journal ID that was created. We can take it from here, you can copy it, and we can go to our EBS system. This is our EBS system. I can put it here and open this journal entry, the new journal entry, and you can see here that all the lines that were in the CSV file are now on our Oracle EBS. So basically that's it. This is how simple it is to take an RPA that was created in the Oracle Service Manager, export it as an Automation Anywhere bot, and import it back into the Automation Anywhere environment. Thank you very much for your attention.